you were a Nepali spice, which one would you be and why?
Chili.
Why?
Because I'm... Oh, no, that sounds wrong. I was going to because I'm hot.
Oh God, no.
But that sounds wrong.
No pun intended.
I'm always warm and running around, so I'm like hot.
I hope they'll understand that.
Hopefully, sorry.
Health and education is responsibility of the government.
मेरो चाचा चिरो नेरी माया टेलिफोन तारा आउन छोरा नेरी माया मायाको काबारा.
If you do not have car, they would not allow you to go to Singadarbar in Ministry of Education.
Oh, it's not my religion, it's my culture.
So if you weren't working in or for NGO, what would be your profession? Maybe what would you be doing?
I will work as, not only like management, however, I am in the management, but development worker.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Working in Nepal, an NGO's perspective. Today, here we have two amazing people as our guest. The first one I would like to introduce to you all, Professor Dr. Sara Parker, Liverpool John Moores University, Chair of Britain Nepal Academic Council. And we have Babu Kaji Shrestha, or let's say popularly known as BK Shrestha among the friend circle. He is the founder and executive director of Global Action Nepal. Welcome to the show.
Namaskar.
Namaste.
Okay, so how it feels to be here in Nepal, Sara?
Oh, it feels amazing. I've been many times. So this is my 45th visit in 30 years.
Come again?
Yeah, 45. So when I'm here, I say, "Ma kukura jastilagcha." Auni Dani. So I come and I go. So I don't live here. But I did live here for 6 months in 92. This trip's a little bit short because I have to go back to teach in the UK. So I have, duties at my university. But yeah, so I'm a little bit busy running around, but it feels great to be here. And every time I come, I just meet the most amazing people, as well as the ones I already know. So I've got old friends and also new friends.
When did you come for the first time in Nepal?
First time was 1986.
Wow.
So I moved from the UK to Singapore, and when we finished our international baccalaureate, there was a trip, and we were going to go to Ladakh on the school trekking trip. But what happened was there was like some slight tensions, so we came to Nepal, and that trip changed my life because it was when the Annapurna Conservation Area project started, and I ended up volunteering in 1992 after I had my geography degree at Leeds University in the UK, and I did TEFL teaching, so I was already an English teacher, English as a foreign language, and I went to live in Sikles for 6 months, and that's Sikles mero mighty jastilagcha.
Wow. That was quite impressive. Okay, so coming to you, BK sir, so when did you started this journey?
Well, my journey started in the development sector. That was 80s.
Wow.
With American Peace Corps. And then I was with Students Partnership Worldwide, which is youth organizations working in that field. And then I started Global Action Nepal in 1999. In fact, just before that, we had a Salary Education Fund, a small charity that was established in the UK. And this one was more to do with this Dalit community. And that's where I have started this education. I felt that, working with American Peace Corps and SPW, I felt that education is the key to bring change and transformation in the society. That's where I have started.
Okay, so since you've been working with so long, and then recently you guys have come across through this, you met through since you guys are collaborating with this DWD project, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
So would you mind shedding some light upon that whole concept, like DWD? What is it?
Okay, so Dignity Without Danger is a research project about the menstrual stigmas and taboos in Nepal. But I've actually known BK since 2007.
Wow.
And because the Pahar Trust builds schools, and I knew that Global Action Nepal did the training. And because I'm really privileged and lucky, so I've been 45 times, but mero paisa hoina, mero anusandan ko paisa. So that the money for my flight has come from my university, and it's always been linked to research. And we had an event in the UK, Pushpa Shrestha, in Manchester, had this big event in the town hall, and I met Chris, who started Global Action Nepal there. So when I met BK in 2007, instantly we were both very passionate about education, because my PhD was on non-formal education and women's education, and particularly a lot of my research focuses on gender. So after the earthquake in 2015, so 10 years ago nearly, women, when a conflict happens, when there's an earthquake or a natural disaster, you're more at risk. So some of the smaller, it brought us together in Liverpool. We formed Liverpool Unites for Nepal. So I didn't realise how many Nepalese people lived in Liverpool and how many NGOs were based there. So we came together to sort of send money, usually direct to the youth groups actually, and to the ground level. And some of the NGOs said, we're giving out these rewashable menstrual kits. And we'd like to have the evaluation, because the NGOs that I know, they have to have evidence of their impact. So because I'm coming and going for my research purposes, I often connect people. So we evaluated the pads, and we found that they were having an impact. It was helping girls stay in school, because you have to be able to manage your menstruation. And it's important to say as well that when we did that project, and if you read about it, we refer to them then as sanitary kits, but now we've moved along with the menstrual movement to call them menstrual kits, because the word sanitary makes you think of something that's not sanitary, it's unclean, but menstruation is pure, menstruation is beautiful. With no menstruation, there's no life.
True that.
So after the small project, I got my first big research project from the British Academy, and with a team. Actually, I have the whole team on the back of the book here. There's a lot of us.
Oh, you can show us to our viewers.
Oh, do you want me to show?
Sure.
So this is our whole team, and I have to thank Sophie Maliphant for making us all into these amazing cartoons or illustrations. So we have BK and Madhu from TU, and researchers. We have Kay in the UK, Lydia and Stephanie. So there's a team of us working together with BK. The key to that project, though, was when we wrote the bid, we already had the connection with the Menstrual Health and Hygiene Management Partnership Alliance. So we had 6 NGO partners who helped us say, this is what we need. Rather than just sort of swooping in and doing research, the idea came from the ground, from local people. So if you think about menstruation in Nepal, and I always say this when I do my talks, I presented it at the International Visual Sociology Association conference. And anyone watching, just Google the word menstruation and Nepal, and then hit on images, and you tell each other what you see. Then change Nepal for Bangladesh or India or Sri Lanka, and what you see there is a very different narrative. Now, religion and menstrual stigmas and taboos are across all religions, but they are very deeply embedded in the texts, and you have the same restrictions in India, throughout Asia, but the spotlight is on Nepal because of the deaths that take place in the Chao Gulf. And it's important that nobody should ever die from being secluded. But we also need to look at the activism and look at how we can address and help people understand that. And not when I say we, I'm talking about people in Nepal.
True.
Because I am a woman from the outside. Yeah, I'm not
the insider.
I'm not the insider. I'm kind of an insider and outsider. Depends where I am.
Technically.
So I'm definitely not an outsider. Not an outsider. I'm both.
Okay, kind of.
But yeah, so we put the project together, and we had 6 NGOs, and Global Action Nepal was the lead one. So my university made the connection, so that they could manage the process here. And it was a 2-year project initially, from 2018 to 2020. But we all know we had the pandemic, so we got a no-cost extension and had 2 extra years, which meant that we had to do a lot of our interaction online. And thankfully, there's lots of technology, and we used radio, and we had an art call out, and people submitted it electronically. We've worked with creative partners. lots of different ones. Carlo 101, Stories of Nepal. Jay did some stories for us. And then we've also done some filming where we gave the women GoPros. And that was inspired by the work of Dr. Sara Bauman from the University of Pittsburgh. Her PhD was exactly on looking at the cultural, what do you do on your period?
True.
How many days? What can you do and
The
not
whole
do?
procedure, let's say.
Yeah, and she used collaborative filmmaking.
Oh, wow.
And we launched the program in 2018 at the Kathmandu International Mountain Film Festival, and brought together some activists, including Palomi Basu, who'd worked for WaterAid and has got amazing, very powerful photographs. But she's also got multimedia work, and she's continuing to do that. So I've got this really privileged position of being in Nepal, and when I'm here, you know, I sit in cafes and I meet people and I hang out in the social spaces and kind of connect people.
Yeah,
So,
I can see that. So that brings me to the point where, I'd like to ask Mr. Shrestha. So would you mind telling us about what it takes to establish something like Global Action Nepal?
Considering the fact that, looking at community people and children that, they are not really getting opportunity to go to school, particularly access. And then I also felt in my lifetime that quality education is not really everybody is not getting quality education. And girls are not really getting to schools. They are not the priority of the family as well. So looking at that, I felt that, probably I should be working in access and quality and also inclusive. That three parts. That is what I thought. And we, together with my colleague in the UK, we started Global Action Nepal. I have a sister organization in the UK who are supporting initially to Nepal's that initiative. And then, when we have got this platform, Global Action Nepal, then we figure out that, teachers are the key to bring changes inside the classroom.
Very true. A big shout out to all the teachers out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
And then during those days, private school were mushrooming everywhere.
Okay. So was it the timeline of 90s?
That was about 86, 90s.
Oh,
yes,
so
that
80s,
is. Yeah.
end of the 80s.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was then overnight, people were feeling very stressful that their children, that community itself happened to be one group happened to be very rich and another is poor.
So basically the privilege.
Exactly,
access
privileged
to the
group that,
education.
those group you could see is that, same people, same children, until yesterday they were in flip-flop, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Then
other
suddenly
day.
turn up another day that, one is
Black
tie,
suits.
black suits and all these. And then, that is a really stressful situation that parents were, feeling.
And let me tell you to all our viewers that whatever he's talking right now exactly is the ground reality. And here in Nepal, if you are wearing tie, and of course a black suit, a leather suit, which may be a basic thing to you in your country, but here in Nepal, it's a big indicator of the societal difference, considering your class, I would say the economic status isn't there.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah,
true.
definitely.
Yeah,
In fact, that is one in what really force us is one of the school in Kaskikot.
Oh, wow.
We were going, like myself and Chris was going around. And then we saw one school there. And then we just said that maybe, shall we go inside? And then everybody was it's like morning. Somebody happened there. Nobody's talking.
Oh my God.
And it's a morning maybe. And then I did not even dare to ask anything. But I politely asked that, is there something happened here? And they said, not really. But what happened was that their children, 120 children gone to the private school, just opened there. Now they were discussing and what should we do? Do we stop, not them,
Yeah.
to give the equal kind of opportunity for all children in our school? That's where they were discussing. And we asked that, what is the difference? And they said English.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
English, private school has got that mommy, daddy's culture was starting. And
Yeah.
then, parents were very impressed. Those days, English is the
Yeah.
quality. And still it
And
is.
this is why, from the UK, quite a lot of people, when they're studying, and you might come to Nepal on holiday, but you might come back to volunteer, and teaching is really important, and English.
That one, yeah.
It's really
It's-
important, and it gives the school a little bit of prestige.
Yes.
Oh.
And it's partly because we're an outsider, but it's the English that we
Not
can bring.
only, Sarah, this is school, but the parents.
Yeah, the parents.
The
And
mindset.
community as well. Also, that misconception they have got till now.
Because you said that the quality of teachers and the training, you can have really good training in the public school and the private school, but you can have really bad in both. You have to have, like you say, it's the heart of the teacher. In fact, is it Howard from the Pahatra story says, show me the head, show me the school. So the headmaster, and now more and more, thankfully, more headmistresses as well. You need
That one.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good. You do need
Very inclusive of
leadership.
you, huh?
No, but you do. You need to have both.
And that's where we have brought my colleague, Chris Soughton, who brought, volunteers from the UK,
Yeah.
his colleague. And then we trained teachers
Yeah.
in Kaski and a couple of other teachers like Solukhumbu and Parbat. Those volunteers helped them to learn, English,
Yeah.
classroom English, let's say, and so that they can have, class in English. But then they also, like volunteers like yourself, you have got different ways of teaching as well in the UK.
So one of the differences as well between the schools can be the quality of the books. So in the government school, it was more sort of black and white, and then you maybe get more colourful books.
Oh, okay.
In the
That
private
part.
schools, a little bit more money. But when I lived in Sikles in '92, the kids, in fact, one of them, Gahendra, is now the deputy head in Sikles. And
Oh,
I
wow.
taught him when he was 14.
Oh.
And we had a British Council link at some point in 2014-15. So he's been to the UK twice. Now, for a teacher from Nepal to be able to afford to come to the UK is quite a challenge. In fact, it's a challenge for anybody
True,
because
true,
of
true.
visas and
In general.
process. But I remember I have a picture, and I took the students outside, and because in the book it said, the pen is here, the cow is there. And I was looking at the picture thinking, well, I don't know what's here and there because they look the same. So I went outside with the book, and I got them all to get their pen, and I was going, the pen is here. And then they all had to throw it into the middle and go, the pen is there. The teachers, and there was only 2 local teachers from Sikles now. Now there's more than 50% are local, and local teachers, you have to have the outside and the inside.
Yeah.
You need both.
True, true.
But it was really good to see more, and there was no female teachers. But the teachers thought, who is this crazy woman? They're throwing their pens around. On reflection, maybe it shouldn't have been a pen. I could have got a pebble. But, I was just using my creative methods, and that's when we met, and I met you and learnt about the methods and better classrooms.
And
better
that part maybe because in Nepal the book, or let's say the pen, everything is considered as an educational material, and educational material is considered a symbolically very much holy thing. It's a sanctimonious thing, considering that it's directly related to Hindu goddess Saraswati, which is of course considered her boon. So because of that, maybe their heavily cultural mindset
Definitely.
might have hurt a bit or two.
I think it was also, but all of my methods were very creative. I'm quite neurodivergent and visual. Now schools are way more inclusive and creative than they were.
It's more kind of, as soon as that teachers got this idea, in the beginning, they did not believe.
No.
I remember in Kapan, that one of the school in Kapan teachers told me that.
In Kathmandu.
Yeah. Saying that, is this the way? Is this the method?
Does it even work?
Does really
And the
work
parents are confused. If the
And
children
then-
go home and
exactly.
play, they're like, but what did you do in school? And they're like, oh, we played with mud. And it's like, what? You can do that at home. So you have to educate the parents
Exactly.
as well.
That is later on we felt that one. That was in Kaski. But here, that teacher told us that immediately after this teacher training, he said that when can I go to school and then use this method? You know,
Yeah.
he was
Wow.
so
Yeah.
Truly
enthusiastic.
inspirational. Yeah.
And then we see that, like in Kathmandu, that Ganesh school and Kapani school, there are quite a few schools we have worked in, and they try to change their teaching methods, and that English was also there, so that at least community schools will have better, better quality,
Yeah.
or the, kind of, they could compete with private school.
Yeah.
And in as you said, in Kaski, that challenge was there. What happened was, we tried to teach them through play, through games, through sports, through songs, music, and hands-on activities. And the parents were saying that, what the hell this Global Action is doing? They're supposed to be teaching. They children should be not making all these
Like times table,
table,
counting.
and then pin
Yeah.
drop silent. Class supposed to be there, but they are making noise. They are making
So
games.
it's quite bustling.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you
And
want.
so we had to have these parents to come, and then we had to have class with them.
So basically, there was some sort of like, traditionally in Nepal, it is believed that not just, even for eating, you're not supposed to talk to one another. Like, you gotta, eat in silence, and that's considered some sort of like a royal etiquette. So even in class also, you're supposed to, a teacher need to deliver just, and the student need to intently listen to the teacher no matter what.
Chalk and talk.
And
Yeah.
if you question, you're considered, oh my God, that's the biggest disrespect. Okay, how dare you do
Yes,
that?
yeah.
That is it. And that was also 90s. Oh my God, like it must have been very revolutionary at the time.
Very much so.
I shared with you that I asked one question. I was not very good in geometry,
Oh, okay.
And then that mathematics teacher asked us to memorize that Theorem 8. I still remember.
Theorem 8.
I don't even know what that is.
What
And
is
then,
that? Me too.
I asked teacher, why do we have to study Theorem 8? Why do we have to memorize this?
Okay.
And then what he told me is that, okay, you are you know everything.
Oh.
And so you should not be in the classroom.
Oh my
You
God.
should go out.
So
And I
basically,
had to go out for
For
45
asking a
minutes.
question.
Those days,
Yeah.
that is exactly what you said.
And
That
when
was
I
the
lived in
culture.
Sikles, one of the things in Nepal with the grade, and you have to pass to go to the next grade, and obviously we don't have
True,
that in the UK. But there was a boy who was like 14, and he was still in class 2. And it's like, please, can you give this boy some vocational education? He's probably really good in the field or the technical. He's never going to pass class 2. But when the teacher went out, the oldest boy in the class was always left with a stick. And if anyone spoke when the teacher was, then they'd bop them on the head. And I was like, I'm an outsider. I can't stop this, but this is quite not hard. But I've heard stories.
it was quite
back in the day.
difficult
Yes.
to adjust.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like raising questions or being like inquisitive is considered into the light of being very disdaining to your elders, or at the same time, with that nonchalant gung-ho attitude of a teenager, if that's not too much to say. That's what it has been taken.
Going back to the 90s, so Annapurna Conservation Area Project had started. So I was working with ACAP and the school. And they have an amazing, and my PhD is on non-formal education, proud Shiksha, and women learning to read and write. But ACAP had this philosophy of conservation education, so that you learn the curriculum, but you link it to the local. So they were encouraging the elders to come in from the local community to share their knowledge. So that's two benefits. The students are learning about their own culture and not just about outside world. And also
This is very because
the parents also see
exactly.
the religious leaders see the school and then can communicate between.
This is an education part that is in NGO, non-government organization, like ACAP also a non-government organization. We were trying to support government because when Global Action Nepal was established, then during that time, one of the movement, Education for All movement was gone.
Okay.
So we were trying to, complement. And
it was a policy from the
policy
government.
from the Nepal government that was overall UN has declared that
it's one
education
of
for
the
all.
goals.
Yeah. And then that was the time that access was the key.
Access was the focus. Now
Focus
then the
during that
move
time.
from the Millennium Development
Yeah.
Goals, and then when it moved to the Sustainable Development
SDGs,
Goals,
yes.
then quality education. It's like there's no point getting kids into school if the quality of the education is
It's
very
not
poor.
there.
You are better learning from your environment. And the other thing, volunteers. I learned so much from the young people in Nepal. So I lived there in 92, but I started my job in 94. And I came back 95, 6, 7 at that time. My salary was a lot lower, but my access to funding was bigger. My
God.
university.
You didn't just say that.
I did. No, my salary, obviously, I was early career. As obviously you get older, hopefully you're going to earn more money.
Okay.
But I had research money that was given to me. I was very, very lucky. My university was very supportive. And they just let me come for 2 months. And then I'd turn up a year later with my information and analysis, and I'd present it back to the local people. And then, so I came 95, 6, 7, and I only started my PhD in 98. But I had to then try and write about what I'd learnt in the 4 years earlier. So I'm very passionate about participatory development. And the activism and the progress in Nepal, we learned so much. I couldn't do the work I did without Action Aid. I met Laxmi and then Kieran, who worked with me in my research assistants.
Well, this one was like, Sara, that to complement you, what you're saying, is the in the beginning, all of us is kind of a giving. We should give something. We should distribute.
Artillery only.
Yeah, it's like you see that, they are very poor, they need some fund and education materials and so on and so forth. But when we have got these questions that sustainability, then this, we should be thinking about do no harm, you know, rather than just giving and then making more dependency. And this is something that we really have to think about. There are so many NGOs, like, over 60,000 NGOs working in Nepal, but there are some active NGOs and INGOs as well. It's good that Nepal government, I think it was 2009, in the policy that, NGOs should be working hand together, hands in hand.
So
simultaneously.
important.
Yeah, exactly, to support. But then there are not all of the organization approach were more
Into that
sustainable,
line,
It's more kind of, it made, we have to see that, whether there is something. I reflect myself in my 25th year, we just celebrate and we're celebrating.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And we were reflecting how much we do good and how much we maybe, we have done better.
Okay.
That is, and I feel that, there are so many, in the beginning is more kind of a service. Now more kind of a rights, right? So
True.
We had to change our, mission also.
So it was initially because of this, compassion,
Yeah,
which
it's
rather
more-
converted into activism.
Yeah, that's right.
That way.
And that's why now, because health and education is the responsibility of the government.
Yeah, it's basic infrastructures,
It
of
is.
course, for sure.
Sure.
Well, that brings me to the point, Mr. Shrestha, sorry for the interruption. I just would like to ask you, since you've been working with numbers of people almost for 3-4 decades, and you might have seen the changing landscape of the NGOs, or let's say even INGOs for that matter, here in Nepal. So if you have to line up the basic 5-6 biggest challenges that have been there and that are still in existence, what could be them?
Well, first thing is that, I see if, let's say, NGOs are more kind of either INGO leads and then get fund from the bigger organization,
Okay.
or NGO directly gets the fund from INGO or big organizations. Whenever they come with their agenda, global agenda, which does not match to the need of the community, that's the biggest challenge I felt.
Oh, so the gap between
exactly.
the agendas.
Because we want our people to be empowered, to be more self-sufficient, right? We don't really want them to be a dependent, to any fund or dependent on other parts of the world, So that is one part. Sometimes it's very challenging to kind of match that one. Another one I could feel is that our community people and some of the NGOs, myself, I would say, I have got difficulty sometimes to work with their rhythm, like particularly.
The flow.
Yeah, their flow is like, some NGOs has some, not all of them. I cannot really
Condemn.
Condemn everybody, but
you cannot like put them into the same
no,
basket.
same
for
basket.
Sure, yeah.
Exactly. Some of the NGO felt that we have got the money, we have got the power.
Okay.
You should work. Whatever we say.
And the best ones are when the community, the ideas come from the community, so you have a long time to build up the relationship rather than just swooping in. The white saviour complex, for example, is something I teach in my global development module. And I'm always telling students, be very careful when you go. You're there to learn and listen, not to change. It will change you.
Okay.
And you may inflict change, but it has to be in collaboration and it has to reflect the local needs.
Exactly. That
Yeah,
is very important. And that's where I feel challenged. Another feel is that, if money does not go to the right people, the needy people, fund, generally what happens is there are so many tires, So money stops there.
A trickle-down approach.
Trickle down that, and then, very little money goes to
The actual place where it was supposed to go.
needy people.
Yeah.
And that's my problem as well. I
Okay.
feel so bad about, I feel it's really big challenge. If you do want to work with them, then you have to follow. If you do not want to work, you will not really reach to the ground.
True.
And I was juggling many times, and I felt maybe I should not, because that doesn't really help to the poorest of the poor people.
But it is difficult as well, because I know so many NGOs, because I've done research over 30
Around
years.
the country.
Around education, around gender-based violence, around ageing. And I had a link with Padma Kanya campus, with Serid, and then also with Bangladesh. So that's how I came to the Nepal so many times. But also, more importantly, it brought the people from Nepal and Bangladesh to the UK. So this kind of collaboration was really important. But NGOs, so I've seen a lot of NGOs, and the biggest challenge they face as well, though, is finding that funding for who's going to pay for the office and the lighting, because when people donate, they want to see a wall painted or a school built or a tap, and they can have the photograph. And fully respect that, because that gives you joy to see the impact.
True. That's what you've
But
done
how do you
the
cover your
donation
basic
for.
costs and
Exactly.
be sustainable?
Yeah.
And I've noticed a change. Now people are starting, the NGOs are starting to have cafes with a social mission. I was thinking about this the other day, because I know people at Seeing Hands, their blind massage, absolutely brilliant. If you like a really tough massage and sports massage, they're amazing. But they need to look at being sustainable, so they want ideas.
Yeah, don't you think that, I mean, as you have just mentioned, I'm donating something because I want my money to go somewhere I want
To
it
the
to go,
poor,
right?
to the really to the needy.
At the same time, also, at times things are quite murky if you talk about the donation and funding in case of Nepal. So yeah, I was coming to that point, Mr. Shrestha. So a lot of times the NGOs, workers, or so let's say the people into this field are quite tagged and leveled as, not in a very positive light, considering that they are kind of like I would say a white liar, a corrupt people who are actually, selling the poverty porn and establishing their own bungalow and affording a very luxury life, whereas the actual needy people are, the plight of them is exactly, there's no even 20 to 90, no change at all. So what's your take on this one?
Well, I think that is the observation who really makes this kind of remarks. They are rightly, they can, whatever they have seen, right? That's fine. I do not really question on that. But at the same time, you cannot really put every NGOs in same basket.
No.
Yeah, so
There are
cookie
very
cutter
good
approach doesn't
organizations,
work.
very good organizations. There are some corrupted organizations. So there are.
It's the same in the UK.
Exactly, it is,
It's not just Nepal,
yeah.
it's global. It's
Yeah.
a global issue.
Still basically human.
It
It's
is,
still,
yeah.
So what we really have to see is that there are indicators also whether how much they are working, and some organization is working very hard. Small is beautiful. Sometimes that's what I say.
True
you
that.
can really bring that impact in
Scaling up is often the biggest challenge, because when you start off, and this is all of them, but from my experience with ACAP, when it was small, as it scales up, it gets bigger challenges, and they need an office in Pokhara, you need an accountant, and you need the staff. You want quality staff, so you can't expect people to do it for nothing. So I hear a lot the one about the car. Oh, look at the NGOs, they're just swizzing around in their cars. And I think for the very large ones, sometimes it can seem that way. But if you're right at the ground.
Well, that is. I think it should not be just that way. You cannot really.
But look, at the same time, I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, if I want my work to be more efficient, don't you think that I would rather prefer to go by car than walking the same distance for 2 hours than rather cover this, like 10 minutes?
That. If you're going to remote areas all the time,
of course,
and you have an
NGO, it's more a necessity than a luxury, right?
So it can be cheaper because the hiring of the jeeps. But then if you're hiring the jeeps, then you're bringing it to the local economy.
Can you believe? I can give you one example. If you do not have car, you cannot go inside. They would not allow you to go to Singadarbar in Ministry of Education.
Are you for real?
But that used to be the case, not now, but that was not the
Still,
case.
It was the fact in the past.
It was the fact. If you are walking, no one cares. If you are in a car, then you can. They will allow Tulumanche. That is. And going back to one of the challenge, as you said that there is two kind of observer and workers that blames NGO. One is that is kind of a generalizing, not really seeing all the ground reality, how they are doing. Another is that they do not like our work is our what you call the counterpart. Like sometimes that can be a government counterpart. Even
grievances
kind of when we work, we want to work efficiently. We want to see that we work hard.
That impact also.
And
the
we
result
want to bring
oriented.
Result oriented. That pressurize our counterpart as well, who do not really want to work hard and complains about the NGOs and the NGOs work and things like that. That is another part I see.
And there's a lot, as I'm also on the Brango committee, and there's a lot of NGOs in the UK, and we've come together as part of Brango to share good practice. And I'm always saying, we need to share good practice. We also need to share our failures. We have to have local people working, because it's so easy. Some people come back and they say, oh, I donated for this water tank at a school. And then I hear someone else who also donated to it, and you're like, I'm sure the money's gone to good use, but people, like I say, they like to see the product and know what it comes from. But you need to have local people here that you work with who understand that, and not just from Kathmandu, it has to be in the local areas. So you have the language, the cultural, that you have such a beautifully diverse
and also,
country that we need to respect.
Also, Sara, that is always working with you folks and overseas people. I agree with you. Like our organization is based in Kathmandu, but if you have to work in Solukhumbu, for example, I cannot. However, I come from there.
The feasibility issue is
changed,
Yeah.
So we have to work with the local
actual
local people. And at the same time, we should not be forgotten, you as well, because you come with the new ideas, some in the West that is successful, which can be adopted in our culture. More, we just have to contextualize rather than, just copy it.
Yeah.
And so that is why I feel like collaborative approach is the best. That's why one of the things is that, I'm lucky to have Sara, a friend, and also we have got professional relation as well. So however we knew from the 2007, we are together. But that materialized in 2018 when we started to have this research.
On menstruation.
As in practitioner, having her as an academician and doing a research. And then on the basis of that, we can work and can
Collaboratively.
implement exactly, what the outcome of that research.
And likewise, my research should have been so shallow if I hadn't worked at the local level.
True that.
Especially in the 90s, it's getting better, but the people used to come. In fact, I think ACAP had a baseline survey and somebody came and said, oh, I'll take it away and analyse it. They never saw them again. I'm sure that I don't know who the person was, which is good. But that kind of idea that you come and scoop up the information and go back and get your own masters and you go on your own career path.
Yeah.
So important to work at the local level with local people, but also a benefit of working for me as an academic. I'm an activist academic. It took me quite a long time to become a professor because I'm too busy running around doing projects and working with people like BK and others. That we also have these new avenues into academic spaces. So even when I did my PhD and we had the link with Serid, Laxmi and Kira, my researchers, we did a conference, we did a dialogue session at Serid, but I got 2 women from Sikles to come to share their stories. And some of the academics were like, what's going on here? Because they're Gurung, their Nepali's not as, as fluent.
Basically, they were not fitting into the expectation, ticking the boxes.
But that then I helped break down that expectation and say, we have to listen to the people. And they stole the show. No one wanted to listen to me. They wanted to listen to Nandashri and Gangamaya. And again, without this passion. So people always say to me, why do you come to Nepal so much? And I come to learn. Somebody asked me recently, surely you've built the capacity of people in Nepal enough? And I was like, seriously, please don't say that. You build my capacity, we co-learn.
Okay.
It's a beautiful relationship.
It's a give and take.
It's give and take. We've made mistakes. We've done things wrong along the path.
Okay, Sarah, so that brings me to a point I've seen a lot of people, especially the foreigners, for them, coming to Nepal is like a Tamil or like a, EBC, that is like Everest Base Camp, or ABC, Annapurna Base Camp, and that's it. Maybe a bit of Bhaktapur and somewhere. So, you have, as a researcher, also as a professor, what is your analytical point of view for those people? Is it enough for them to have the outlook of Nepal, just visiting a couple of places and living into the luxury hotels, eating on the pizzas or the pastas or whatever the regular food there?
Well, that has changed in terms of, so people ask me what's changed in Nepal, and education's got better, more creative. But then I go, they've got really good coffee now. Cappuccinos.
Well,
and
I was expecting something different.
I am not complaining because I love coffee.
Okay.
And
good
actually,
for you.
Nepal has the best coffee in the world at the moment.
Thank you. We do have it. Yes,
really
proud
do.
of us.
You're knocking it out.
More
of the
power,
park.
Nepal.
Yeah, definitely. So but that's another story about coffee. I'm not going to go down that one.
But you said one thing is that, which is self-sustained. NGO also should be self-sustained, and they have started a coffee shop. Right?
Yes.
Oh wow! Yeah.
And this
the
is
concept of cafe too.
Yeah, and those a cafe with a cause. And then I still can see though that there's so many social enterprises, and it's like they need to advertise each other and not compete. They need to collaborate.
True.
So I'm actually, before I was a professor, I was a reader of development studies.
Not foe, but the friends.
Yeah. So
Well, you have seen this one also, so probably that
Yeah,
is-
please tell us about.
So I was a reader of development studies, but I'm actually a professor of collaborative action research because without collaboration,
No.
then you're just
Nothing.
And I do think people can come to Nepal and you don't have to get involved in a charity. It will change you. So I've brought students on field trips, so they do coursework and they do interviews. I've some students have come and done their dissertation here. And recently I've been bringing students, we used to have Erasmus money and now it's called Turing in the UK. So some of the students in the UK can apply and they can get funding to help them come here. And they get extra funding if they're from widening participation. So if they're from maybe a poor socioeconomic background, we have a lot of child poverty in the UK. And, if you've been in care in the UK, so you can get this extra funding to help you get here. And it's life-changing for them. I'm doing a survey to assess the impact of coming to Nepal on the people who've come. And when I read it, it makes me want to cry because sometimes the impact's not immediate. but it's helped people open their eyes to travel, to go to other countries. It's made them more adventurous, and they are just
A different approach towards
they
life.
leave inspired. But then if they follow me around, like I'm like a little chicken running, and I do stay in Tamil as well, but we go to different places, and I try to introduce them to all the different sort of NGOs. It's not just about education and charity, it's also about making fair trade clothes. I've done some research with the Fair Trade Group Nepal. But now lots of organisations are ethical and fair trade, but not necessarily labelled as such, because that is a long process.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
considering that
expensive.
one, that brings me the point on where, like you just mentioned that a lot of foreigners, especially be it like in whatever terms, for whatever purpose they do come in on, but especially the Caucasian race people, they're already regarded, especially, I don't like, there's some like subconsciously they're regarded as superior than others, especially considering the amount of hospitality. But yet the case is not similar always. Like most of the times, foreigners coming to Nepal is always seen under the light of scrutiny, meaning that there is this whole conspiracy theory that UK, America, or other Christian countries are, deploying their people in the name of welfare and, the social service to convert into Christianity. And that's what they say, because that's how they're like sending not the people, the worker, but the troops.
Nobody
They
should
said
ever
that.
convert to anybody's religion. And now menstruation, we could talk about the Hindu text, but we have it in every single text.
True.
And people often say, oh, it's not my religion, it's my culture. So that's one to unpick. But I'll just give you an example from Dignity Without Danger.
Okay.
So we worked with women in the Far West, and they filmed their menstrual practices. And we have 2 documentaries. So if you go to the Dignity Without Danger YouTube channel, they're freely there, available. What we really need is people to comment and subscribe so that more people see them, because these are films edited by Sara and her team in America, because I don't even have the skills to edit a film like you guys do. So they were... when we did the film showing in the Far West, one of the questions the next day, I had the women in the Far West who'd made the films come to the conference in the Far West University. And one of the questions afterwards, because one of the women was Christian and said, well, I don't have any restrictions. Everyone was asking me, so you're here to convert people? And I was like, number one, I kind of don't have a specific religion. And number 2, I really don't think anyone should be converting anyone out of their religion. I respect the cultures and traditions. So after you've menstruated on the last day, you sprinkle the cow urine and drink a little bit, and the face like this comes. But then also,
Come on, that's on hygiene.
no, but also sometimes
Well,
when you're in, men will go and have the cow urine to purify. So it's
Wow.
prescribed.
No offense to others, but for
No.
me, this is like quite
It's-
unhealthy.
But Grandma in the film, please watch Parabasa Stay Away.
Okay.
It's a film that made by women in Nepal. Now, Grandma passed away. I get upset when I say this. She passed away in 2021. But in the film, the main message is, if you sit with me, I will not blame you if I get ill. So they're in a meeting. They have this meeting. They made the drama themselves. They wrote it. They have 5 beautiful songs that they recorded and sang themselves. Now, Grandma loved her cow. Grandma would always purify. And she said, I will never blame a menstruating woman for making me ill, but I will never go in a temple, and I will continue my rituals. And you have to respect that, because that's a deeply held belief. It's like I would never not say to a Catholic, well, confession is not real. Who are you confessing to? I'm not going to challenge these. You have so many beautiful gods and beautiful stories. We need to celebrate the female goddesses more. And we do need to talk about menstrual stigmas and taboos.
So it's basically more into the line of, rejoicing the similarities and respecting the differences.
Exactly.
And also the, what we, not even for religion, like Christianity you are talking about, but even for the change, our practices. There are good things also in our culture. And Sarah, there are some of the need to change, which can be kind of detrimental to your health, possibly, or to the community, or those sort of things. Our Asian, we are also outsider in a community. However, we are Nepali. What we can really do is that we can offer them like different practices and different ways of doing handling things. Another one is that giving them lots of different alternatives. Let them make the decision. We are not the change maker. We cannot impose anyone to change themselves.
It's up to them.
It's up to them.
Also, it is important to work with the religious leaders. So one of our partners initially was the Radha Patel Foundation, and then there's the Global South Coalition for Dignified Menstruation. So anyone who wants to know about globally, these taboos are all over the world. But that foundation, also Good Neighbourhood and others in the Menstrual Health Network, they're starting to work for a couple of years now with religious leaders, with the shamans, with the jackeries, with the priests. And when they actually have the education, and if you look in the text, you can reinterpret the text. I really would love somebody to reinterpret all religious texts from a feminist lens.
Okay, wow.
Let's celebrate the feminine.
There you go.
But that doesn't exclude the masculine, because we need the yin and the yang. We need to look at the girls and the boys. So, I mean, we're going back to 2000, after the conflict, myself and my colleague Kay, we looked at the impact of the conflict in schools. Now, obviously, children were very scared, especially in remote areas, but there's a lot of focus on gender-based violence. It's 16 days of end violence against women and girls. I've got goosebumps. The activism here is off the scale. You have so many activists in this country, and we also need to focus about boys as well, because boys also suffered and were scared, and boys may have committed atrocities, as part of being in the conflict. Everyone needs counselling and support. There's not enough counselling, but that in the UK, the counselling and the support and helping to build children's resilience, the pressure's being put on the primary school teachers. And we have a mental health crisis because of the impact of COVID on people. So there's a lot of pressure on teachers.
This is like, when you talk about gender equity, in my experience also, and we were working on it, and we have been working for a long time. What we have found is that, it's equal opportunity. But first, until the girls, or the women comes to certain level who can talk with, man or male.
So basically first equity and then equality.
And then, that is very important. That is what we have found. And we use one technique, approach that was working very well, which is called sister for sister.
Oh, okay.
Big sister helping little sister. Because little sister always get, like, if you go to Tarai, early marriage. Even in the mountain, even in the city area, still there is. So big sister always work as a police, who
a go-to person.
It's kind of person
that
taking these issues to the legal aspects. Similarly, we had Play for Change. We try to give them opportunity to in sports, and then those girls were very happy to come and then begin to work in the community. They wouldn't believe that it happened. It is really working well. So the girls coming and then kind of leading, and so many things happening. So that kind of slowly this kind of approaches have been found very
so this is when I got to know BK. This was all happening, and I was like, wow, you're talking about exactly what I'm interested in. That grounded approach and empowering and fun. And in May I was here, and you have 15 girls who you're training to be more empowered teachers using creative methods. I did two things. I've also written a children's book called Adventures of Fairis, and Nepali Frog. And it's got a puppet I usually have my puppets. I didn't have it with me. And that was to sort of make people talk, create spaces for people to talk. And yesterday I was talking to Uttam, who was part of the SETI program 45 years ago. And he was talking about the importance then, when they were training girls and giving them access to education, it was non-formal because they couldn't go to school because they had house duties. And they did it in the public space. And that meant that the parents could see the impact. So then when you put them in the school and the parents can't, I was like, wow, I need to really rethink some of these things.
No wonder why we have now in terms of the access, we have got, 96.3 or 7, something like that.
Wow, so we've really come
children.
far.
It's
It's
come,
come-
you know, that,
come across
well,
a
we
lot.
have to make
not just
100%
coming,
though.
But also, when I was in Sikles in the 90s, the girls were on the back row, and also the people who were from the Dalit community were more shy and on the back. Now everyone's mixed. The girls used to hide in their shawl at the back. And one day they went behind the school, and I used to have these very big glasses, right, 1980s,
Okay.
and they all wanted the picture with my. They all put my clothes on, and with my glasses, and I have all these brilliant pictures. But now the change, even your girls since May, we did menstruation workshops. We invited. I can't remember the name of the company with the film. There's some beautiful films out there about menstruation that make people question the stigmas and taboos, and this time their confidence you can see in 6 months has because they've had support and training. They have a WhatsApp group, and I've been invited to be on it. So sometimes I might be having a bad day at work, or something's happening in the world, and then you get these pictures from these girls of what they're doing, and it just
Brightens up the
lifts
day,
you. Yeah. So I come to Nepal to be inspired and to
Yeah.
work with amazing people.
Well, this is in fact, that is very true. And
Well, that brings me to the point, Mr. Shrestha. Like, there are a lot of, I'm sure there are a lot of, youngsters and the foreigners, especially the young boys and girls, and also maybe any aspirant would like to come into the field of, developmental sector, and maybe would like to collab along with a Global Action Nepal. So what are the channels open from your side? What can I or any foreigner would like to, if collaborate for you, through you, or get in connected with you? How can we just work for this noble cause together?
as I said earlier, that collaborative approach is the best approach so far we have seen, and this one, it has to be not only within the country, collaboration between organizations, between people at the local level and central level, but the international level as well. This is a kind of global citizen, that's why it has to be better understand each other, like culture.
And there's also a lot of Nepali diaspora now, especially people who are living in the UK and Aldershot and Belgium.
True
Hong Kong.
that.
And people want to come back, but you don't want to give up your education and your job in the UK. So I've noticed now Nepalis and the NRN come back as a Nepali, but come not to teach people, but to learn about your own culture and country,
Oh my God.
and to share your knowledge. It's the decolonisation agenda, which is everyone's talking about decolonisation. I'm a little bit worried it's being used to say we shouldn't be here.
That decolonisation
yeah,
part.
but you need to come with the right mindset.
Yeah, exactly,
So how do you actually
exactly.
get into? How would you connect with NGOs here to work if you're advising someone who lived in the UK, for example?
Yeah, better is that we have a platform which gives you opportunity that those who are outsider, before they go to any place, what we do is that
This is brilliant,
Yeah.
and you can have training centres. So my students came in the summer, we spent 2 days here, but you can adapt it to the needs. So if you're an engineer and you want to come, you will
Yeah.
find the engineers. If you are a primary school teacher, you've got so many connections. If you're an NGO and you have your clusters of school that you're supporting and you want them to come to Kathmandu for some training, you've got not just the space, but also the expertise.
Exactly.
Because you have got such a broad network. So the training centre is hopefully will help you sustain
Yeah.
and cover your basic costs as well. You have to still light the building and
exactly.
pay the accountant. Without an accountant, then you're nothing.
Oh my
As
God.
well, I know. Yeah.
What we try to do is that students coming from UK, from her college, university, and we have got somebody from America and Australia. They come here, and what we try to do is that we try to give them cultural and a little bit of language and culture to
Exposure.
have exposure, to have a better understanding of this country.
And get along.
Exactly. And then, we have got two ways, Nepali youth and overseas youth, they interact each other so that they can have
Co-learning.
sharing, learning each other. And that is really good one. So what we try to do is that Gyan Learning Center, that's one of the sister entity, which has got spaces, as you were saying, that they come there and stay there. But we do all these cultural integration, learning and orientation,
yeah.
everything will be there. And they will have opportunity to learn, if they want to learn, like wood carving, for example,
Okay.
or clay pot, making clay pot, or writing, interacting with the children, and that opportunity is there. So they can have this kind of opportunity, and if they want to do so, they can always contact us, and we can work together. That's how we are doing. And this is the place. You raised one question earlier, and she also mentioned about coffee shop for the good cause, and this is the same.
Okay.
This is the same, that this GAN Learning Center is sort of making income generate and to support
The good work that you do.
work in the community, and that's what we are doing. So it has started in 2015. So we have got big halls. We rented it out, and about 35 people, they can stay there, live there. Sort of accommodation also is there
At a time.
And the food's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You've got a very good cook. Yeah, a very good cook.
Yeah.
All right. Oh my God. We really have had a load of talk, but this brings me to an interesting session, and it's a bit of like a rapid fire, where I would be starting with who should I go with first? Maybe I would go with BK first. Okay. So Mr. Shrestha, I'm gonna ask you some of the pretty questions, and you gotta be very quick. Okay.
Okay.
No more thinking. So dal bhat or pizza?
Dal bhat.
Sunrise at Poon Hill or sunset at Rara Lake?
I would go Rara Lake.
One Nepali word you have taught your foreign colleague. One Nepali word that you have taught your foreign colleague.
Rangi Changi.
Do you know what does that mean?
Kind of bumpy.
No.
No, you cannot ask that. Come on, that's a cheat.
I know it. You put me on the spot, and I
I better.
forgot.
Nepal ko chori, huh?
I'm gonna be sure.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry,
let's
what?
go further.
I've
yeah.
lost the question.
So,
Who are you asking the question to?
okay, so
Sorry, the phone was just.
yeah. So
buzzed.
what is the one thing that foreigners love the most about Nepal?
Sorry, what was the question?
What is the first one thing? Like, what is one thing that foreigners love the most about Nepal?
Himalaya.
Okay, mountains. Mhm.
Mountains.
Okay, so mama with the jhol or mama with chutney?
Momo with chutney, I think.
Okay, you cannot ask her. That's yours. Okay, now one funniest cultural misunderstanding you have experienced at your work?
Misunderstanding was the role of the women.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what's the best part of working with or in an ING or NGO?
Best part is that you can work as an NGO, working in the grassroots level, and also that NGO can work at the policy advocacy as well.
Wow, that was nice. One thing foreigners can learn from Nepalis, or they should learn, they must learn, like one thing.
One thing that is about the Nepali ways of life.
Lifestyle. Oh, wow. Tea or coffee to fuel your workday?
Coffee, please.
Or you're a coffee person. One Nepali festival you always recommend to foreigners to participate in?
That is Tihar.
Oh my God, everybody talks about Tihar, huh? Okay, now we are moving into the travel and aspiration sections. Now, Annapurna Base Camp Trek or Mardi Himal Trek?
I would love to go Madi. Madi
Okay.
Himal.
One country you would love to visit for work, apart from UK?
To work.
Yes. Visit for work, of course, for your work. You have to visit there, apart from UK.
Apart from UK, I would go to... It's a difficult one, but
Yeah,
I've got so many choices
try.
I would go to Philippines.
Okay, dear Filipinos. Mabuhay, look at here, huh? You've got somebody. Now, another one. What's your favorite foreign dish introduced by your colleagues, your foreign colleagues? Favorite foreign dish?
Favorite foreign dish was the Japanese.
Japanese sushi?
Sushi.
Oh, okay. So if you weren't working in or for NGO, what would be your profession? Maybe what would you be doing?
I will work as again not only like management. However, I am in the management, but development worker.
Okay.
with sustainable, using sustainable mechanism.
All right. So how to describe Nepal in one word?
Nepali is very laborious.
Oh my God. Nice one. So it's a fun and quirky question. So karaoke night with colleagues, okay? You're with a karaoke night along with your colleagues. So would you prefer to sing Nepali song or English
Nepali.
song? Okay.
And folk song
Is this
even.
like Yo Manta Mero Nepali or is it like My Heart Belongs to Nepal, huh? Okay. Have you ever worn your office traditional outfit to work?
Nope.
Not really. Okay. If your work were a movie, what would be its title?
These
Changing lives.
are good questions.
Indeed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
The
nice
most Nepali thing you do in your office
Most Nepali.
thing. Like this is like a totally Nepali thing.
Okay. Cooking.
Okay. Wow.
Cooking ourselves in
See,
the office.
that's what I mean. Like, I have to say to all our audience, like, cooking is just not a general, it is just a basic survival skill. So stop, leveling it as a general, right, Sarah? Indeed, a very nice answer, huh? So, mountain biking or rafting on a day off?
I would go with rafting.
All right, so this brings us to the end. He did pretty well, right, Sarah?
Thank you.
So it's your turn.
Yeah,
It's your
thank
turn.
you.
So here I am coming with some of the questions. So you ready, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your go-to Nepali phrase or word?
Bistari, bistari. Or
So what does that
or
mean? Tell them. Yeah.
Slowly, slowly.
Okay.
Or in Sikles, it would be tai tai.
What is
Enough.
that?
Tai tai.
Like pugyo, pugyo.
Oh my
Stop
God.
feeding me so
That
much.
was way Nepali than my
Tai
roots.
tai.
So which Nepali dish would you eat for the rest of your life if you had to?
Oh, dal bhat.
Oh my God, really? Such a dal bhat person you are.
100%.
Okay, so mountains or city life, which one feels more like home in Nepal to you?
Which one, sorry?
Mountain life or city life?
Mountain life.
Okay, so have you tried mama dipping sauce that's too spicy to handle?
Very often, yes.
Oh, really? I
Dari
fight
piro,
too.
ke gani.
Oh my God, so you're very good at Nepali, huh? I'm still gonna test that though. If you could rename one place in Nepal, what would you call it? Rename any place.
Ooh. My mind has gone blank on that one. Because I
Okay.
think the names in Nepal represent the place already.
Oh, so sweet of you.
I would
Okay.
I would probably think about the term far west, because where is it far from? Kathmandu's not necessarily, it is the centre, but when you're in the far west, Kathmandu is far away.
Okay.
But also the term east and west.
Very political.
Where
huh?
are we
Very
west and east
political.
from? Where
very
is the centre?
political.
Yeah, sorry. So I wouldn't rename it, but only if people
Yeah,
want. I
you
would
prefer.
I would
I
want
mean, you
people
wish,
to. I like
yeah.
people to name their own places.
Okay, so what's the funniest misunderstanding you have had due to the language barrier?
So my PhD was on non-formal education, and I was interviewed. So my Nepali is good, but I sometimes struggle with the pronunciation. So if you say Chalfal Kendra, Chafal. So one of them means discussion group, and one of them means shoes. So there was once an article written in a newspaper, and apparently I went to Sikles and I taught people how to make shoes. Because I was saying chalfal or chaffal. I was saying it wrong.
Chapel and chapel.
I was saying choppal instead of chalfal. So discussion. So the group was called
Right.
Chalfal Kendra, which is a discussion group. And the person, so my friend, Nepali friend said, I didn't know you were a shoemaker. I was like, no, I'm not. And it was in the newspaper, the national newspaper.
That's a
flip-flop.
So that
headline
was a
for today. That's a
misunderstanding.
headline for
But that was
today.
my Nepali pronunciation, so sorry.
Okay, so how to describe Nepali traffic in one word?
Oh, crazy.
Oh my God.
Stroke awful.
I hope all the Nepali audience are not offended.
No, the traffic is crazy, but the systems are getting a little bit better. But
Okay.
the jam.
No damage control now.
The jam.
No damage control now. So can you sing a line of Nepali folk song you have heard?
Oh, मेरो चाचा चिरो निरी माया टेलिफोन तारा आउन छोरा निरी माया मायाको काबारा. It's
Oh my
my favourite
God.
one, and if anyone out there has sung it and they can send it me,
Yeah.
Well
because I
done.
used to sing it in the village all the time. And it was,
Impressed.
Tell us,
Love it.
our viewers, what does that mean?
so it means The telephone line has been cut,
Okay.
so my love message can't get through.
Oh, so romantic of
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Sarah is romantic, so
And mero chori ko naam Maya. So mero Maya.
Okay. So her daughter's name is Maya, which literally translates into love, right?
Yeah, and my son's called Jamie. So I have a tattoo that says Maya on it.
So them.
My tattoo says Maya, but I
Okay.
don't have one that says Jamie because it doesn't have a
Oh my
Nepali meaning.
gosh.
So
Jamie, you gotta be there.
yeah, next time, coming soon.
Okay, so describe Nepal in 3 emojis.
That one, the like an explosion of.
Okay. Please keep it somewhere here, okay?
Yeah,
I'm,
sorry.
I'm requesting our team to keep that emoji here.
So like
Another.
like mind blowing. A mountain for the mountains, and then the namaste.
Oh, wow. Very hospitable. Okay. So how would you explain the concept of dal bhat power to someone who has never had heard it before?
So the t-shirts in Nepal say Dalbat power 24 hour.
Yeah.
If you eat Dalbat, you can work all day.
Is
And
it for real?
It's got everything, and you have the right proportion of everything, and you don't have too much meat, so it's healthy. A little bit less salt, but apart from that, you need the salt. I love it.
Okay, that brings us to me a point where I can talk about the spice. So if you were a Nepali spice, which one would you be and why?
Chili,
Why?
because I'm. Oh no, that sounds wrong. I was going to because I'm hot.
God, no.
But that sounds wrong.
No
Because
pun
kind of-
intended.
yeah, like I'm always warm and running around, so I'm
Okay.
like hot.
I
kind
hope
of-
they'll understand
Yeah.
that.
Hopefully, sorry.
Okay, so since I said, and in fact, I've heard that you spoke quite a lot of Nepali word. In fact, you sang in Nepali. So let's try to pronounce the name of this place. You repeat after me, okay? Tamil.
Tamil.
Can we give her that one? Was it correct? Tamil.
Well, I say Tamil.
Okay. Siangja.
Shangja.
Well done.
that's one.
Bhaktapur.
Bhaktapur.
Wow, pretty well. Woo! Very well done. Okay, I'm glad that you did it pretty well. I mean, more than expected. How much can we give to you out of 10? Because you're a professional. Let's rate her. Well, that need to be, still a
Wait.
question. Anyway, so this almost brings us to the end of our show for today. Is there anything would you like to add or give a message to our viewers, the listeners, the audience, please?
Yeah.
You first.
Oh my
What
God.
I was going to say is because this one is more kind of NGO working in the development sector. I think let us not see NGO is kind of a beggar, just ask money and things like that and corrupted. There are so many NGOs very good. Maybe some NGOs are corrupted. That has to be monitored, that's for sure. And working together collaboratively, government also should not feel that, should feel that, we are there, one of their hand to achieve national goal, So that is something government people has to think. And overseas, sometimes we found that, NGO has got a little bit bad reputations and they always see INGO leading that and so on and so forth. But local NGO also, if you empower, they have got capacity, they can do work. It will not be more kind of, more, there will not be, there will be less people, working in that sector. That means, not very many people, operation cost will not be very high. So if you go directly to the local level with expertise, using their expertise, and also respect the local culture and local ways of things, which you can, you have to build up what they have got already, rather than imposing something new, which cannot be sustained. That's what I would say.
Can you repeat the question? Because I was
Yeah.
really interested in listening.
Oh
so-
my God. Yeah, sure.
Right.
What is, if there is any message you'd like to deliver at the end of the show?
Yeah. So one thing I haven't really spoken enough about is menstruation because of Dignity Without Danger. And exactly what you've said, actually, these resources came out of the project. It was lots of art and all these other projects. But this one brought together the government, the curriculum makers. We secured some funding from GIZ because Anasandam ko paisa sidyo. So the research money finished.
Yeah.
And these resources are to help teachers teach menstruation, because too often, especially with it's a sensitive topic and maybe the teacher's shy, so they just skip it and then say, I'll test you tomorrow. So we have one for the teachers, a guide to help students learn. We made radio programs. Global Action Nepal did, because COVID meant that we needed to get the message out, but actually we need to make these now audio as well, because we've done an evaluation. And this book is Ruby's World, which is WASH United. So take lessons from overseas and other places as well. Learn from your failures and celebrate your successes. And that leads me to the last one. So if you want these resources, please reach out to Global Action Nepal. But we're just in the final stages of evaluating the impact so we can feed it to the policymakers. And hopefully the government will say, yes, these are brilliant, and we'd like every school to have them. We also would love to have in, and we have this in Nepalese as well, we would love to have this book and this one from India, Menstrupedia. Check them out on social media. They have lots of videos. But we would love to include that. But if we make it too expensive, it's not affordable for the government or the schools. So we're trying to be realistic. We're going to get feedback on our recommendations, and we'll launch again in May. I think we'll have our final product for Menstrual Hygiene Day, May the 28th. And also check out December the 8th, Dignified Menstruation Day. Nepal has a policy that has yet to be ratified called Dignified Menstruation. And when that is ratified, Nepal will be a global leader. I go to the conference for the Society for Menstrual Cycle Research in America, in Washington, and Nepal's policies, this curriculum is fantastic. I would say we have a lot to learn from Nepal. And finally, celebrate any social enterprise. Use your social media. I'm not on TikTok. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. TikTok's a little bit, I'm getting a little bit woody. I'm getting old for TikTok. But use your social media and your power and share positive stories so that people can celebrate, connect, and continue to inspire not just Nepali people, but the world. It really is. I come to Nepal and I always leave inspired. So I'd just like to thank, obviously, BK, but all the people I've worked with over the years, because I wouldn't actually have stayed in my job without my connection to Nepal. Because these activists, when you do the Menstruation Nepal, Menstruation India, you see the activism in India, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. We need the international media to focus on the amazing work that's being done here. It has lots of different activists in, from filmmakers to people making pads, to people working with film, art, drama. And if, again, we're working on having it in the bookshops, we have it available in Nepali, but we need a system so that the funds that we raise from this can then help us continue to do the work. And the funds will be raised locally. And if there's any philanthropists out there looking for advice, come to the Brango meetings. Let's form forums. So we have the Brango in Nepal, so you're doing the same. Share your successes, share your failures, and collaborate. Education on its own is not going to solve menstrual discrimination. No. Health on its own, WASH on its own. We need it all to come together, and we need to support people so that everyone has a happy and healthy menstruation. It's good for the women, it's good for the boys, because no menstruation, no life.
All right. Thank you so much for having us today and giving us your positive insights. We wish you all the very good luck for your future endeavors.
Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
I forgot that we're even being recorded, so I might have to rethink being a chili. I think I'm cinnamon. Thank
you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.